Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to the, I guess I want to say the first official episode, Marco, of the Fighters Rep podcast, where we're going to be talking about, from here on out, brother, none other than just what happens at Fighters Rep. You know, during the pandemic, Marco, we were talking a lot about other fights, about other promoters, about other promotions. But now we've gotten so busy, we've gotten big enough here that I think this is an inaugural moment for us, a special moment. And we get to talk about our own guys, man. What do you kind of think about that, Marco?
Man, you know, there's nobody else I like to talk more about. I think our promotion has some of the best fighters. I think we get some of the most exciting talent. And I think they deserve to have a little bit of shine thrown on
I
them.
absolutely agree, man. And so, you know, we're going to do this by topic. And, you know, the first topic I wanted to touch on, and I think this is a good one to talk about going into Fighters Rep 14th, which, if you guys don't know, is June 25th, and you can get your tickets right below in the link or at FightersRep.com. I wanted to talk about 5 of your hottest prospects, Marco, going into Fighters Rep 14, and I'm limited it to 5 because, you know, otherwise I know we'll sit here and talk about these kids all day. We've got some absolute, you know, studs coming through the ranks here. But
That's a good
thank you. And of course, you know, if you ever have any kind of topic you wanna touch on, you know, I'm more than happy to hear it. But I wanted to talk about the 5 hot prospects heading into Fighters Rep 14, whether they're fighting at Fighters Rep 14 or not. You know, we don't always get guys to come back right away. Sometimes they're injured. Maybe they take a fight in between or whatnot. But just 5 top prospects. You know, is this something that you've thought about at all? Are there any kind of names that just come to your head?
Definitely has. I've been thinking about the top prospects that we have for a while. Every time we get the fights lined up, and I take a look at your matchmaking, and I think about, man, how does this make one of these prospects look even better? Or what are these 2 prospects look like against each other? And just real quick, just not to change the subject or talk about other companies, but the big difference between Fighters Rep and anything going on, like let's say in boxing, I went to go watch that young kid from H2O Promotions.
Sylph?
He was the Jake Paul fighter. So
Yeah.
he was a good prospect. I hear he's got a lot of fans. He fought a guy that he wiped out in 30 seconds or less. That's one thing Fighters Rep doesn't do.
Yeah,
And
we don't do
when
that.
we say these guys are legit prospects.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Sylph.
So
I know he's a good fighter. Again, I think I told you I got
Okay.
to meet his dad. You know, I think he's part owner or owns the Jackrabbit Gym there in Long Beach. So big shout out to them. But, you know, that's not really on them. That's on the matchmaking. And, I mean, maybe he is that
Well, that's on their model.
on the boxing model, right? You know, maybe he is good enough to wipe a guy out in 30 seconds, but, you know, you don't really see that too often at Fighters Rep. You know, I take pride in not putting guys in there that shallow. But anyway, we'll move on. So kind of, you know, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this first, and then, you know, I'll give you mine. Just 5 or so prospects, right, that you think are just real hot, you know, coming through the Fighters Rep ranks that you're really excited to watch going into Fighters Rep 14.
All right, I'll shoot you. I can think of a couple right off the top of my head. The number one that comes to mind is Edgar Zaragoza. Ever since his first fight, I've thought that he's one of the best talents that's out there coming up. I think he's going to be really good, and I think he's one of these guys that I think it's going to be hard to find good matches for him that can beat him, just because I think he's very high volume, and I think he keeps himself in really good shape. He goes out there, he's exciting to watch. You're not going to get a boring fight. He's fought 3 different types of fighters, and he did well against all 3. He's already been knocked down, so we've seen that he had heart. He's a fun fighter to watch. I'm a big fan of Edgar Zaragoza. And the other one that comes to mind, like right off the top, is Cam Spencer. I think Cam Spencer is just such a big dude, he's going to be a great talent. I think this last fight, he learned a lot. I hope he would have learned a lot about one thing I noticed when I was taking pictures is that he was huffing and puffing, and I think it's because he was throwing a lot on all his shots. If he learns to fight. Like I've seen him train. That guy's gonna be dangerous
Yeah,
because man,
yeah.
he's so smooth. He's so big. I think guys right now who look like they're competitive against them won't look competitive against him once he gets some more fights under his belt. I'm really excited about Ken
Well,
Spencer.
what about Joshua Caldwell? I mean, my recollection is you had him winning that fight.
I have
It was a
seen.
close fight, but you had him winning that fight. So I mean, if you're high on Cam Spencer,
I'm
where are
very
you
high.
at on Josh Caldwell?
I'll tell you what, man. Like I don't like to pick fights before they happen when they're for fighters rep. I'm high on Caldwell. He's got that title fight coming. I really like him. You know what I liked about him is when he fought Cam, I don't want to say this in a disrespectful way, but he like big brothered him. He went up to him and even though he was the smaller guy, I felt like he kind of he his posture at the weigh-ins, his posture before the fight, it was never disrespectful, never said trash talk. He just kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna big brother you. And even though I wouldn't say he wasn't the bigger puncher. I thought that's what he put out. And then he's exciting.
Yeah.
When he fought David Rivera, he knocked David Rivera down. He looked really good. I told you ever since I first saw him in practice, I go, man, Caldwell, that kid, he looks like a fighter. He's built like a fighter. He has an attitude like a fighter.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big Caldwell fan.
He's taken two very tough fights for us, and he's definitely earned this title fight, as has Christian Zoller. You know, I'm really excited about these two big, long, ripped to shreds athletes going at it for the 172-pound title. So that's three. That's three. I mean, is there anyone else that kind of comes to mind?
Yeah, I got a couple more. I got Gustavo Flores. I've seen Gustavo Flores. You might have had him more, but I remember now, like real clear, his last two fights, and both were bangers.
Yeah.
When he fought, who was the guy he fought at Fighters Rep 12 or Fighters Rep 11?
It was Fabian Hernandez.
Man, that was a bang. If it wasn't for our main event for David Pacheco, that would have been the fight of the night.
Right.
That was just such a good fight.
Right.
And then he just blew his opponent away this last time. He's so exciting. I love that kid, man. He's a fun fighter to watch. I look forward to his next fight.
Yeah. I think we got room for one more from you.
All right, one more from me. Let me think. If I go back in my recollection, there's a couple good ones. I mean, we've had some. Obviously, the Silvas are good. I just think they're kind of young and they got a lot to develop. Khalil obviously is an exciting fighter. I think I'm going to say Gabe Silva. Gabe Silva, to me, even though a lot of people are higher on Khalil because I guess he did soccer before this.
Yeah.
I really like watching Gabe fight. I think Gabe's so smooth in there. In this last fight, he went in there and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna show that I'm the bigger, badder dude."
He looked really good, but you know what? He came in 5 pounds over, so I'm gonna reserve my prospect talk for that one. I'm not really a fan of that.
How about I don't know if you keep up with it, but how about all the comments in the Instagram posts that we've been putting up?
I mean, listen again.
They let him know.
Gabe is a very good fighter, but when you agree to a fight weight, you come in heavy, whether it was intentional or not, whether it was an accident or not. It just doesn't look good. So, but I can see what you're saying. I mean, he looks great. He's a really good, solid prospect.
Yeah, he's definitely got to learn the professionalism, but he's gonna be great.
So that's your 5.
My 5.
I got 5 different ones that I wanna point out. There's some overlap for sure. I mean, all those guys you mentioned are like, wow, especially like Edgar, and I think he's in deep in this next fight versus Hamza Trod, another prospect that we've had, another kid that's had 2 fights with us that's absolutely explosive.
3 fights. He's had 3 fights with us.
It's been 3 fights? Okay, well, you know better than I do at this point. I mean...
I went back and watched all the tape.
And he finished every fight with us as far as I remember. So that's a juicy one. Obviously, Joshua Caldwell, I mean, I'm really high on him. I'm high on Zoller. I thought Zoller put up a hell of a performance against Quincy Holland. But, I thought Holland's coming off a few years layoff from a knee surgery and shouldn't have even been in that weight class. So that's another kid I'm like dying for him to get healthy and get back in there, man.
Man, I know who I forgot. Go ahead, keep going.
I'm going to keep going. So Here are my 5, though. I'm gonna give you 5. I'm gonna try to limit it to 5. I hope I don't insult anyone by leaving them out. It's just these are just names that popped up in my head that stuck out from Fighters Rep 13. Number 1, I gotta go, and this is not in any particular order. I'm just saying number 1. Number 1, I'm going with Raymond Martinez.
That's what I was gonna say.
Raymond Martinez is just, I mean, his first fight, in his very first fight, Marco, he just showed that complete 100% fighter's mentality. I mean, you cannot teach that. You're just, I feel like you're either born with that or you're not. And he took that first fight at Fighters Rep, I want to say it was 11 or 12, and just kept coming and was trying to hurt his opponent and was trying to finish and embodied every little element of that one bell mentality that Coach Rage tries to give to his fighters. I mean, he was trying to go out there and kill that kid who was very tough, and then Raymond Martinez comes out at the last Fighters Rep 13, and in a fight that we all thought was going to be 50-50. I mean, if we're being honest, I don't think anyone was prepared for Raymond Martinez's improvement from the last Fighters Rep to the one that happened at Fighters Rep 13. You know, he drops Dylan Ludwig with boxing. Nearly finishes him at the bell. I don't know if you noticed that at the end of the first round at the bell, nearly finishes him.
Yeah.
Ludwig, I mean, showed so much heart, out on his feet, walks back to his corner. And then Martinez closes the show, aggressive the whole time, looking for the finish the whole time. Closes the show with a spinning back kick that he just learned a couple weeks earlier, probably from Joseph Claycomb, to end the fight. I mean, they could have basically, I don't know if they could have called that a finish or what. I mean, but he drops Ludwig at the end of the fight with that spinning back kick. Ludwig, I guess, gets up, but my goodness, I mean, Raymond Martinez, man, a kid with just that's his third fight that we just saw, and I was very impressed by it.
And I've been lucky. I've seen all 3 of Ray's fights. I've seen his MMA one. I photographed all 3.
Yeah.
Ray got mad at me after our last video, man. He caught me at weigh-ins and he said, "Hey, because we made the video together before the Fighters Rep 13,
yeah.
and we were talking about him, and I made a comment on that video saying, hey, win or lose, these guys come to fight." And Ray pulled me aside. He goes, "I got a problem with you, man. We don't come to lose. It's all win. We come to win." So I mean, that guy got the right mentality. Like the moment he said that, I knew Dylan was in for a long night, because he just from talking to him, and we even talked before, like how he was scheduled to fight someone else, and I thought that was going to be a tough night. And then after that fight, I go, I don't think anybody can, I don't think he's going to be the underdog. Against anybody at 185 right now. He is a bad dude.
I mean, I would have thought, like you said, before that, I would have thought, because he was originally scheduled to fight Cameron Spencer,
right.
And then Dylan Ludwig came up, and the matchup for Cameron with Caldwell came up. We thought that was a better matchup, but we switched things around. I thought before Fighters Rep 13 that Cameron, because of his experience, may have been too much for Raymond. After Fighters Rep 13, I would be hard pressed to pick a winner between Raymond and Cameron. I think that would be such a fantastic fight, Marcos.
I would favor Ray, and that's not a knock on Cam. Wow. I'm a Cam fanatic.
Yeah,
I would favor Ray.
I don't know. I don't even want to touch that one.
Yeah, I got you. I'm saying Ray has so much. I don't know the word, but it's just ferociousness.
Yeah, he's ferocious, man.
And obviously, Cam would prepare for that fight, but that would be a fight that I would love to see. But Ray is he's so improved, and he's got my attention, man. I want to see him fight next fight. I think the fans got to watch this.
And I want to see Dylan back too. I mean, that kid can fight. That kid can fight, and I want to see them both back. But Ray is definitely one of the ones that kind of popped up in my head, or really stuck out for me from Fighters Rep 13, headed into Fighters Rep 14, where he's going to be competing again. Another one for me, just because of, his overall, I mean, he's almost like personality-wise a complete 180 from Ray, right, who's just this vicious, I'm coming to eat you kind of guy is Michael Claycomb. Michael Claycomb, for me, man, is just such a delight to deal with as far as professionalism, being in front of the camera, the way he fights, his improvement from the last event, all the people that come out to support him. He had a great fight with Juan Banda. Juan Banda, who I'm also a big fan of after that fight. That was a great fight. I mean, they were going to war in that second round is what I remember. And I really enjoy Michael Claycomb. I think he's really going to resonate with the sort of like clean cut, all-American, nice guy, role model kind of demographic, and him having that karate base, that traditional martial arts base, I think that's also going to resonate with the traditional martial artists. So Michael Claycomb kind of stuck out for me as well. I thought he had a great performance and a lot of fans there for him. And also big shout out to Juan Banda, who I'm a big fan of now as well after that fight. But my second, sort of prospect in my head that popped out for me at FightersRep was Michael Claycomb.
Yeah.
The other one, and this one for me was major, was Amar Rasuli, the now super heavyweight a champ, right?
He beat a bad motherfucker.
He did. He beat Edgar Barbary, who was an absolute beast.
And he stopped
TKO'd him in round number 4 with just 4 fights to his name. He did that. 5 if you want to count the PKB stuff. And he just looked every single bit of the part, Marco. I mean, so professional, so calm, but also hyped. I don't know what it is. He kind of has the same demeanor to me, right, as an Akeem Olajuwon. I don't know if you grew up watching basketball at all. Just a complete badass who's just
the dream.
Yeah, he just knows when to go to work, when to destroy you, and he's just doing it nonchalantly. And I just love his personality. I love his professionalism. And just the way he used his body in that ring. I mean, he knew how to use his reach. He knew how to use his size. He hits hard with both hands. He hits hard with both legs. He's undefeated. He's the champion. And I just absolutely love it. And I don't know if you saw the reel that he put up on Instagram where he was training on the deck of the Commerce. And he says he was surrounded by Aston Martins and I don't know what else, and he just felt money. Just, I don't know, that reel kind of gave me goosebumps, man, and I thought he looked really good. Really, really good.
He looked really good. I agree.
Of course, I gotta give a tie, right, for number 4. Christian Zoller and Joshua Caldwell. I mean, look, I thought that Caldwell fight was close. I wasn't sure who won that fight. But Caldwell has gone in there and fought David Rivera, where he clearly won that fight against one of the toughest kids, one of the most talented kids, I think that's around in David Rivera. And then he goes out there and convinces 3 judges that he beat Cameron Spencer, another one of the most talented kids that we've got out. So I'm very high on Joshua Caldwell, and that's why he gets a title shot against Christian Zoller, another kid I'm high on, a kid who proved that he belonged against, Quincy Hollow Point Holland in that last fight. I mean, Quincy is a guy, his record does not reflect his ability. I think that kid, as soon as he gets healthy, is going to be a major, major problem. And the fact that Zoller was able to hold him off and find a way and win that fight after getting hit quite a few times very hard in that fight, right, using volume, using his intelligence, using his skills, I was very impressed by Zoller. So that was amazing. And those two, I'm giving them a tie for 4th only because I have a 5th and final prospect that I want to mention, and that's Jason Granado out of Squirrel Muay Thai, man. It was his first fight, Marco. This young man, and he fought an even younger man. Jason's only 19. He fought a 17-year-old Mateo Ruiz, and let me tell you, both of these kids came to fight. I am absolutely impressed by both of these kids. But Jason Granado, in his first fight, Marco Martinez, coming out there with a cowboy hat on, having just lost his grandfather, coming out there full swagalicious, you know, to the music with the cowboy hat on, representing for his family, and so many people were out there supporting this kid, and he came out there and he fought a fight that, you know, some of these veterans couldn't be that calm and couldn't be that smooth and couldn't be that skilled under the lights. The kid's a looker. He looks the part. He's built for this. You know, to me he looked built for this. And so that kid, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just something about that kid, the way he came out, the way he showed out at Fighters Rep 13. He's coming back for Fighters Rep 14, as are, I believe, everyone else I mentioned other than Amar Rasuli. We're not sure if he's going to be back or not, because that's all going to depend on availability. But yeah, those are my hot prospects, and I'm sorry if I failed to mention anyone. All of these guys are incredible. You mentioned a lot that I wanted to mention, but those are my 5 hot prospects. What do you think?
Man, let me just mention a couple things about Granada. So Granada's another one. I got to go to his camp, and I knew right off the bat this kid had charisma, because a lot of people, when they see the camera, you know, they duck away. Or the other day, he totally shied away.
Marco, you there? Marco, can you hear me?
You know, like he's running the treadmill and he's flexing.
Right.
He's doing all the right things.
Marco,
you were busy.
Marco, I'm going to ask that you repeat, you know, like the last minute of what you said. You said a lot of guys shy away, and then we lost you.
Okay, so a lot of guys, when I come to go do the interviews or promo videos with the fighters, you know, they don't like the camera in their face. They don't, you know, or not so much they don't like it. They get shy, and you can see it in their body language. They don't do things that are you know, that show their own personality. And Granado was the opposite. He was flexing when he was running on the treadmill. You know, he was all about it. He wanted all the smoke of being, you know, on camera and putting his name out there like a fighter should. He did everything right.
Right.
You were busy during the weigh-ins. So during the weigh-ins and the face-off, me and Curtis were up there, and Ivan's up there. All of us worked with Fighters Rep, and we're doing the pictures. And his opponent, what was his opponent's name?
Mateo
Ruiz. So they're standing like maybe about 5 feet apart, and they're staring each other down. And Mateo is a killer himself.
He is.
And Curtis goes, you know, because they're standing really far apart. He goes, guys, can you get closer together? And George, I've never wanted somebody to be in between two people more than those two guys. I wasn't comfortable with that. That was so scary. Like, just those two guys, they looked like they were ready to fight. Then they acted very professional.
Yeah.
Hyping themselves up. But man, they brought it on Fight Night, bro.
Oh my God. Yeah. And don't get me wrong with Mateo, man. That kid has got some real talent, and I think, you know, and he's only 17. I mean,
nothing but time to learn.
Yeah, I mean, that kid's a beast. I really want that kid back. You know, that kid, I think, beats just about anyone else on the night with how ferocious he was out there. But Granado just, I don't know, he just looked like another level of swag and smooth and skill, and I just loved it, man. I love that in a prospect.
Definitely. I would just hope, the one thing I didn't like about Granado was I hope he improves his defense. Just from what I saw he was keeping his head straight up. And someone who has a little bit more skill or a little bit more experience than Ruiz, not so much skill but experience, might be able to take advantage of that. But that is all these guys' first fights. And you know what? I was talking to Caldwell, Joshua Caldwell, this weekend. He told me that one of the best things about Fighters Rep, it was either him or his brother. He told me the best thing is that you guys, we put out good videos right away of the fights, so the fighters can really review what they've done. They can look for their own mistakes. They can learn. They really like that about Fighters Rep, that we put those out.
Yeah, man, and you know, I want to thank you. I want to thank, you know, for the pictures, for helping with the video. I want to thank the live streamers, Robert Simerson and all the guys. You know, I want to thank Curtis. You know, I want to thank Ivan. I mean, it's because you know, this team we've built, that we're able to do that for these guys. You know what I mean, Marco? And that, I think, has taken us to another level. I think, relative to most of these promotions that, you know, kind of just want to put the fighters in there, have them fight and walk them out without any footage, without any video. I don't think that's acceptable, but to each his own. But you know what? I think, I think this was a good first episode, man. Really, really entertaining. I look forward to hearing what everybody has to say. What were your top favorite prospects from Fighters Rep? Put it in the comments below, you know, and be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Tap that bell notification icon next to it to know when we put out a video. Like, comment, share, and follow us on Instagram at FightersRep. Follow Marco at Fight Life Nation. Right there, you can see his Instagram handle right under his pretty face there. Marco, thank you for your time, brother. We're going to do this again every Monday and maybe break it up into a couple episodes as we go forward in the future.
Sounds good.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro.